Autism professionals and parents often have a lot of questions surrounding disciplining children with and without autism. There's added confusion about what discipline is and how you should do it. So today, we're talking all about the important subject of discipline. Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Barbera, autism mom, board-certified behavior analyst, and best-selling author. Each week I provide you with some of my ideas about turning autism around. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do that now. The word discipline, according to the dictionary, means training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. Therefore, when you think of the word discipline, you often think of punishment. And as a behavior analyst who believes in an almost exclusive positive approach, this definition is upsetting. Even though some forms of discipline like spanking are now considered abusive, which I believe they should, the use of other punishment techniques like timeouts, threats, and even yelling or verbal reprimands are used in schools and homes pretty frequently. But for decades, the research has shown that all animals, including humans, learn best in the absence of punishment or the threat of punishment. The best book I know on parenting with a totally positive approach is called Positive Parenting by Glenn Latham. This outlines the importance of a positive approach for all children. Unfortunately, many do not use a completely positive approach and often include punishment or the threat of punishment for kids at homes and at schools. And there's even a bigger issue with disciplining and especially using punishment for kids with autism and related developmental disorders that are rarely highlighted. So today I am going to highlight some of the considerations for kids with special needs as it comes to discipline. Number one, children with autism often have language and cognitive delays, making them incapable of understanding the language of even simple rules, such as we keep our hands to ourselves or we need to be quiet now. So a 6-year-old might have the language ability of, say, a 2-year-old, and that child cannot be expected to know how to stand in line, keep an appropriate distance from other kids, and wait for his classmates to be ready. All children need to be taught based on their ability, strengths, and needs, not their actual chronological age. So reprimanding or punishing a child for not following classroom rules when he doesn't have the comprehension abilities of these rules is just inappropriate. Number two, many parents and teachers of kids with and without disabilities don't know how to discipline without threats and punishment. We never were taught this in college or even high school. And even if you took a course in college on classroom management, say you went to become a teacher, this classroom management course was not an intense focus on ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis, which is the science of changing socially significant behavior. So the methods used by well-meaning adults currently, such as timeout or yelling, often backfire and children become more disruptive over time, not less. It would be like having me try to fix your car. Since I'm not a mechanic and have no idea what I'm doing, I'd likely make a mess of things just trying to fix the car without education and experience. You may think that reducing problem behaviors is not, rocket science, but I'll tell you, it is complicated. And we can't just use the techniques used by our parents raising us as a guide for how we should discipline or have a positive approach to raising kids or teaching them at schools. In general, I say that treating problem behavior willy-nilly, just making it up, is a bad idea, and it almost always makes the situation worse. Number 3, timeout is one of the most overused, and it's a procedure used incorrectly most of the time. If timeout is used for any child, it should be a rare occurrence and should work quickly to decrease behavior. The problem is, as I said a minute ago, timeout is almost never used correctly. And as a parent, before I was a behavior analyst in the late 1990s, I used timeout only a few times with my typically developing son Spencer, and never used it for Lucas, who has moderate to severe autism. And as a BCBA since 2003, I've recommended timeout on very rare occasions after careful assessment and a lot of data and oversight, and always trying a totally positive approach first. So you shouldn't be using timeout daily or even weekly. If you are using timeout so frequently, you are being too overreactive and not preventing things enough. And if you're a professional using timeout in any setting, this should be a planned procedure approved by the team, including the parents, and you need to be collecting a lot of data using a positive approach in combination with any kind of timeout procedure. Okay, so now I told you what not to do. Don't treat a child based on actual age without considering his language and cognitive abilities, not to use punishment willy-nilly or on a regular basis, and to really think about the use of timeout. So now you're probably wondering how you are supposed to discipline children with and without autism. So I could go on and on for hours and hours, so these are going to just be a few tips. Number one, each child with autism deserves an assessment of his or her strengths and needs. You can start with my one-page assessment as part of my 3-step guide at marybarbera.com/join. Number two, if a child has the language ability of a much younger child, don't expect them to follow the rules. They may need one-to-one support at school and a lot of attention and teaching at home too, as just one example. Number three, you need to learn all you can about the science of applied behavior analysis using a positive approach instead of punishment or threats with all the people in your life, especially children with autism. I hope you enjoyed this video blog. If you did, wherever you're watching it, I would love it if you would leave me a comment. Tell me what your idea of discipline is. Give me a thumbs up. Share this video with others who might benefit. And to learn more about how to help children with autism, download my free guide at marybarbera.com/join. And I'll see you right here next week.